interested afterwards, Verstappen saying, for 70% of the season, he hasn't been driving the best car. Is he right?
Yeah, he's absolutely right. It started off quite well. And if you look at the last two seasons, the last season is a season that I don't think we'll ever see again. Red Bull won all but one race last year, and Max Verstappen won 19 races, which is absolutely ridiculous. The year before, he won 15, and we thought that was good. Yeah. This year, it's not that Red Bull have been bad. It's just, it feels like the other teams have caught up a bit more. And when Lando Norris won back in Miami, that was his first victory, his first race win in Formula One for McLaren, things changed. And Max, for the first time ever in Formula One, while being a world champion, has been challenged. And we've actually seen 7 drivers win multiple races this season, which is a complete change from what we've seen over the last couple of years. So I think the thing that stands out for me for this championship for Max is that he's battled not having the best car, because I think we've probably said it before on this show before, you put the best driver in the best car, they're going to win championships. We've seen it over the years with multiple times in different generations. However, this year, at this present time, this past weekend, he's probably in the 3rd best car, but he knew what he needed to do. He only needed to finish ahead of Lando Norris. He could have got involved in battles and tried to finish higher than 5th, but he didn't. He came home in 5th. He was 1 place ahead of Lando Norris, and he won his 4th World Championship consecutively, which has only been done once before by Sebastian Vettel in terms of winning your first 4 championships in a row, and it won't be his last, I'll tell you now.
Well, I tell you what though, John, with the greatest respect, you said 7 different winners there. For somebody like myself who enjoys watching it and would describe myself a neutral, not really attach myself to any of the teams, it certainly makes it a far better watch. I've really enjoyed it. But the question I want to ask you, the race, I think was it the rain-soaked one in Sao Paulo, was that one of his greatest races of all time?
I think that's probably the greatest race I've watched in my time. And obviously, I'm a lot younger than some people who have watched Formula One since it began years and years ago. But to start 17th in those conditions and to win that race, given what's on the line and given that he's been challenged by people and given actually the fuss that's been made about his aggressive style of driving and how he pushes the rules to the extreme limits, all that's going on. You've got to remember everything that's gone on at Red Bull this year behind the scenes with Jos Verstappen and Christian Horner and key figures in that team leaving. To start 17th and not be in the mindset of, okay, I might just finish top 10, to think, no, I will win this race. That shows you that he is a step above all these other drivers at the moment.
It's interesting, John. I want to talk to you about that very briefly. Sorry, Jeff. You mentioned that because I read it was a great article in one of the papers over the weekend. Can't remember which one it was, on Christian Horner. The year that they had and all that kind of stuff. And he must be sitting. The question I ask is, he must be sitting this morning with the biggest smile on his face, because he said in the article, he kind of named Toto Wolff a little bit. He said a few of them came for him where he was looking for. I said there was 1 or 2 gave him a little bit of support, but when he's going through that trouble, and he mentioned Toto Wolff, he said a few of them came for him. So I'm imagining he was sitting with a smile on his face this morning.
Yeah, really, really well. Obviously, they've been through a lot this year. I think to start the year with the investigation that went on where he was cleared internally, a lot of people thought, well, it's hard to stay in a position, even if you've been proven to be innocent. It's hard to stay in that position when you're such an influential figure. And he stayed there, and he's not only managed this tumultuous season incredibly well, he's now got a 4-time world champion on his hands. Not so good in the teams championship, in the Constructors Championship. That's where Red Bull are probably not going to win this year, because it's going to probably be a battle between McLaren and Ferrari. However, they could still pull it out of the bag. I think the big decision now that Christian Horner has to make is whether he gets rid of Sergio Perez, because he's only got one driver that's performing. And that's going to be a tough decision, because Sergio Perez brings in a lot of money through sponsorship. So he's got a few big decisions on the horizon, but you have to be impressed with how he's managed this year in Red Bull, and I think he's going to be hoping for a calmer year next year.
John, thank you very much indeed.
Thanks, John.
Great year for Max Verstappen, 4th consecutive world title for him.